What is going on, guys? Had Quant and Zebec planned for you guys tonight, but I'm running a little audible because our guest couldn't be with us tonight. So we will still have a really good show about the Zebec news. We just had Simon post something earlier this morning with him and the CEO of the All Unity stablecoin. So we're going to check that out. And we also had some Metallicus posts about DeFi. So we will still have a very, very, very great show here. So we ran a little bit of an audible, and I want to really discuss Quant with our guest. We might get into a little bit of Quant just to kind of prime it today. So yeah, but we'll be talking Quant and Zebec more this weekend on so we'll be talking that more this weekend. We'll get into it a little bit today, just a little bit, so that I give you a little bit of what I promised you today. But since the guests had to reschedule, we'll be running a little audible and talking about Zebec and All Unity and getting a tad bit into Quant and Zebec today. So let's get into it, guys. Another great show, another great Monday. And as always, keep my guy Indigo saying, hey, let's get it. Boom. Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Blackrue Investing, let's go.
Who's this producer? Best believe I was Blackrue Investing. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifesting. So we binge on our Blackrue Investing. Best believe I was Blackrue Investing. That course in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. So thank God for that Blackrue Investing. Best believe I was Blackrue Investing.
What is up, guys? What is up, Blackrue crew? In here on a Monday, glorious day. October keeps upping. So hey, we're crypto investors. It's always a glorious day. Shout out to some of the regulars in the house. My guy Maximus Crypto in the house. Crypto Clay, Tony S, Dave F, King Pound 1, BBS, Charlie J. Let's go. That one guy. Let's go in here. That one guy. Are you GT Nuts? Did you change your name, GT Nuts? What's up, Gerald Draper? Let's see. What's up, E in the house? E, our moderator in Telegram. I'm just so happy to be in the house with you guys today. October keeps upping, and yeah, let's get into it here. Let me go ahead and share the screen here. Y'all can see I'm up here glowing and sweating because it's an Arizona day, and I turned off my heat, so y'all can't hear the air conditioner, or turned off the air conditioner. So let's go ahead and get into it here. Let me see. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, Zebec here. So this is from Cybos. We have a conversation from Zebec CEO Simon and Alex, let's say, Hopner, CEO of All Unity Stablecoin, a joint mixture between DWS, Flow Traders, and Galaxy. Also, Zebec here. I don't know why they chose to list it like this and not include themselves, but that's okay. We're gonna hear it and see and watch this partially. They say watch the full interview here, 8 minutes. Let's watch it. Let me know if the sound is good, and also let me know if the sound is good just normally, okay? So it turned off the heat. No, I meant turned off the air conditioner, of course. Max, yeah, I'm not turning on the heat out here, bro. Max is also in the Arizona area, so that you guys know, because you see our live in-person interview or collaborations, right? But let's go ahead and get into this without ado.
Alexander Hupner,
Let me know if you can hear it, by the way, guys.
Well, everyone, welcome Alexander Hupner, the CEO of All Unity Stablecoin. We are here at the Cybos conference in Frankfurt, Germany, and we're going to sit down and talk about all the exciting things that both All Unity and Zebec Network are doing here at Cybos this year. Awesome. Thank you for hosting me. So Alex, how do you see stablecoins?
So guys, can you hear it? Well, Let me know if you guys can hear it. I'm going to keep going. I think you can hear it. You should be able to hear it.
This year at CBOS, and why is everyone talking about payments in crypto?
I think this, at least from a conceptual standpoint, this is the big breakthrough year because all of the big corporations, including Swift now, ultimately since yesterday, is jumping on to efficiency potential from stablecoins. So it's not a question at all if it happens, it's just when it happens and to what magnitude it's actually to happen.
Well, we see.
So again, not a question. Will stablecoins happen? They're happening. Okay, they are happening. Okay, thank you guys with the sound. So this is a big telling thing here. Stablecoins are happening. This is not the crypto regime of the Gary Genslers and the Biden administration. You know, this is not a political podcast, but honestly, as crypto investors, the Trump administration seems to be fulfilling its promise and everything that they said that they would do with cryptocurrency.
Seen a lot from everyone from banks to financial institutions to governments talking about stablecoins. Why is All Unity so well positioned to serve these groups?
Because we're neutral. Ultimately, you have to think about it. Now, every bank can issue their own stablecoin, which theoretically is nice. But if you think about the big use case, which is cross-border payments, and multitude of corporates are involved in this payment cycle, and every corporate has a different house bank, and every house bank has a different stablecoin, then you need a huge OTC market for the exchanging of these stablecoins. And ultimately, the corporates just want to pay. They just want to care with all this, which is technically. So it's natural that you see fragmentation first, because it's a hot topic. Everybody wants to get into that topic and grab some of the market share. But ultimately, you just want to pay. And I think, yes, in theory, all financial institutions should come together, but essentially they are all competitors. So for us being neutral, available to everybody, I think that's a unique position.
And
That's interesting what he said. So he said, look, everybody just wants to pay. They just want to be able to pay. So it almost sounds like to me like this decision was out of their hands. Like, ultimately, we just want to be able to pay, right? Like, okay, it's almost like, okay, well, my boss told me to do this, and, I just want to do my job. I'm just trying to do my job. So, interesting from that to hear from that point of view, right? Which is like this came from on high. This came from a higher power than even the banks, right? Now, interesting to see that this stablecoin is neutral. Now, to me, and this is speculation until we see some documentation, but to me, it says, okay, if it is neutral, it could be a conduit that connects all the different bank stablecoins to a singular place. And you know how we've theorized, shout out to Blue Collar Crypto and others, how we've theorized that Zebec is the protocol that is kind of the connector, almost like a piece of the interledger protocol. So if it is a connector, it's essential for it to have a neutral stablecoin. Okay, so if this is a neutral stablecoin, it can be a connecting piece to Ripple, to Circle, to anything else, right? So if it is something that's neutral, that will make it a very, very good connecting piece to something else. Okay, it's not a square peg in a hole. You know what I mean? It's agnostic, right? And given that Deutsche Bank is the biggest bank in Europe, so I've heard that is very, very important. So if you really want to talk to Deutsche Bank, you can use this neutral coin. Or if you really want to have talking to Circle, RLUSD, anything having to do with Paxos, you can use this as an avenue. So that I very, very, very much like. And this is speculation until we can find some documentation that supports this.
It's interesting to see, given that you're an EU-based company and an EU stablecoin, we are, of course, a US company. How do you see the differences in stablecoin adoption between the two markets, and how do you see that changing?
I think that naturally Genius Act was doing a lot. It was pushing a lot, mainly because it puts the whole stablecoin and crypto out of this, let's say, shadow area from the US of the last, let's say, couple of years. I mean, the big benefit, as I said, is for global corporations. And global corporations, they don't stop at the US border or European border or wherever. Yeah.
And see, this is why I always tell to people, right? This is global. And he's saying it right there. Like, global corporations don't stop at these borders. Like, all of these, like, you know, China versus US type of deals that you guys get. This means nothing to global corporations. Tesla can sell Teslas in China, right? And we know that there's different corporations that, you know, Ford and all of this different things. There are different global corporations where this doesn't, none of the political whatever matters to them, period, at all, full stop. So it's important to have like a chain agnostic or a common stable coin, which all these corporations that are global could use. And Zebec is that kind of conduit for these global corporations.
So you need a service that spans cross-border. And I think the push from Genius Act pushed also Europe to accept more stablecoins, and let's say slightly going away from CBDCs only. Same for China. And offerings like Zebec, they come over and they're actually for global corporations, they're a perfect answer to.
Offerings like Zebec come over and they're perfect for global corporations. Like, that's it. Like, we can almost, like, not end the show here. We're not ending the show here. But, like, we could. Like, that's all we need, right? Zebec is perfect for global corporations. And this is from the All Unity guy's mouth, right? Can we stop the Zebec scam talk now? Like, when you hear stuff like this, can we stop it? For real? Like, oh man, that's amazing. I'm gonna rewind just a little bit just to hear that again.
Service that spans cross-border, and I think the push from Genius Act pushed also Europe to accept more stablecoins, and let's say slightly going away from CBDCs only. Same for China. And offerings like Zebec, they come over and they're actually for global corporations, they're a perfect answer to have a global workforce.
Now, if you're a stablecoin provider,
To have a global workforce. And what is Zebec for them? The global payroll solution. Guys, do you understand what we're investing in right now? Like, does that make it really clear?
and you want to work with these global institutions, what are the key criteria that global institutions look for when partnering with a company like All Unity?
I think predominantly, or let's say, a starting point is they need to stick in their environment. That means they have a house bank relation for the last 20 or 30 years. They don't want to ruin that relation because maybe they want to use efficient ways of stablecoin payments, but they have other financing needs and they still need the house bank to do so. So they don't want to freak them out. So the house bank needs to provide them with a wallet infrastructure and custody services. But then also they need to be able to process the stablecoin. So the stablecoin needs to be embedded into the treasury management system so that they seamlessly can use the stablecoin for their internal payments. And where that, it's a little bit like tipping the toe into the cold water, getting used to it, and then maybe opening up their channels for production and actually customer services.
So essentially what he just said is basically what I kind of theorized. Is, okay, maybe these places have a house bank that they're working with, but using the All Unity allows them to connect out to the rest of the world, right? Without basically pissing off their house bank, okay? And basically said, okay, well, you know, it might be a little bit weird for them. You know, they're going to have to dip their toe in it a little bit, but, you know, it's doable. That's essentially the gist of what I heard him say. Let's go back again just to hear it again to make sure that that's kind of what was conveyed there.
Like All Unity.
I think predominantly, or let's say, a starting point is they need to stick in their environment. That means they have a house bank relation for the last 20 or 30 years. They don't want to ruin that relation because maybe they want to use efficient ways of stablecoin payments, but they have other financing needs and they still need the house bank to do so. So they don't want to freak them out. So the house bank needs to provide them with a wallet infrastructure and custody services. But then also they need to be able to process the stablecoin. So the stablecoin needs to be embedded into the treasury management system so that they seamlessly can use the stablecoin for their internal payments. And where that, it's a little bit like tipping the toe into the cold water, getting used to it, and then maybe opening up their channels for production and actually customer services.
So basically that's just it. So they'll have, the wallet for internal use and stuff like that, and they'll have their house bank is what he's calling it, that they've used for 20 to 30 years. But this is going to get them with the All Unity stablecoin. It's going to allow them to come out kind of to the rest of the world, right? That's what I heard from what he said. It's basically like you're going to run All Unity side by side internally, right? Internally, so that you can get out to the rest of the world. You use All Unity, but you can still use your house bank, not piss them off, but get ready for the stablecoin services, which are going to allow you to communicate to the rest of the world. Very, very awesome, knowing pretty much this is something they have to do, right? Because the coexistence period ends 11/22, okay? In which they're going to have to do this. Okay? So this is not a choice. They have to do it. Okay? So let's continue.
Got it. Well, you mentioned wallet infrastructure. I know you made a big announcement this week as one of your wallet partners. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think that for us, naturally, availability is what makes the difference. You need to be available on all channels that are available where stablecoins are needed. You need to be available where all, customers are connected via wallets or wallet infrastructure. And having such a thing together with Privy and then the entrance into Stripe and Bridge naturally is for us a big step because it opens up the channel to wide adoption.
The entrance into Stripe and Bridge, okay? Again, we know that Zebec is partnered with Stellar. We know this Stellar is partnered with Stripe. So let's take a little look-see at, we'll take a little look-see at it in a second here. But we know Circle is partnered with Stripe, okay? And we know, shout out to Maximus Crypto and others, that Circle used to be Stellar USDC, okay? So he's giving you this information right there. This is a lot of great information in a 8-minute interview. So let's go back to hear that again.
One of your wallet partners. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think that for us, naturally, availability is what makes the difference. You need to be available on all channels that are available where stablecoins are needed. You need to be available where all, customers are connected via wallets or wallet infrastructure. And having such a thing together with Privy and then the entrance into Stripe and Bridge naturally is for us a big step because it opens up the channel to wide adoption of customers connected. And ultimately, accessibility of a stablecoin is what makes the difference.
So that's exactly everything that we were talking about, right? Availability. So basically they're saying, and this is what XRP solves, right? The 24-hour access to liquidity, right? This is basically what he was saying, that the availability is going to be very important for them. The access to Stripe and Bridge, they're going to have access to this 24-hour liquidity. And if you listen to some of the things that we showed you guys from Cybos, this was one of the things that was very important there. Maybe we'll play some of those Cybos interviews right now. Again, realize we're kind of doing an audible a little bit here. So some of the stuff may have not been set up beforehand. So please bear with me. I hope I don't get 20 comments. Why didn't you have this set up beforehand? I had the audible here because our guest wasn't available for right now, okay? So please, as an audience, if you can bear with me, I really appreciate that. Let's continue.
Where do you see the All Unity stablecoin fitting in within the Stripe ecosystem in the future?
I think we can play a role as a dominant euro stablecoin. I think that Stripe is perfectly positioned outside the eurozone, but global trade is not stopping at borders. So you need to be able to process all relevant fiat currencies globally. And euro is this second or third, depending on how you count, largest reserve currency. And for a lot of trade finance transactions, it's the second largest. So you need to be able to process US dollar, but also euro transactions. And Stripe is very well positioned to offer service in that regard.
And it's very
So if Stripe is so well positioned to offer this, guys, we really people need to really not sleep on Stellar and the Stellar partnership with Stripe and the Stellar partnership with Zebec, right? So again, this just really puts into perspective how strong XRP and Stellar are going to be over the next few years, right? This is everything that we would want to hear from anyone, and this is from the CEO of All Unity Stablecoin. So this is not some rando. This is a guy who knows what he's talking about.
applicable in the payroll space as well, as we serve many US institutions right now, and many of them have actually asked us about European payments, which we've not been able to support to this date until, of course, we complete our MICA registration, which we're in process of finishing very soon, and finding a euro-regulated stablecoin as well to work with. So we're very excited to now be able to expand salary payments from the US into Europe, and also work.
So I don't know if Simon's being coded here or he's being careful here, but assuming that, like, because they announced this partnership with them, unless it's not done yet, but I don't understand why they would be sitting at the table talking if the partnership isn't done yet, or if there's something that's not quite done there. But as I heard him say it, it seems as though they're not done with their MICA application or whatever, and maybe after they're done with their MICA application, then they can actually announce what's going on with them in All Unity Stable. I don't know. So he's saying that they're looking for a Euro partner. This would be that Euro partner. Again, I don't know if it's not done yet or something like that, but obviously these two wouldn't be sitting at the table if it wasn't very, 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 very close. So let's continue.
Work directly with European institutions that may want to pay people in global payments outside of Europe as well.
That's a fantastic step because it is very, let's say, easy for corporates to get into stablecoin usage. They can do it for a limited number of employees to start with. A lot of global corporations have also labor force and maybe in high inflation rate countries or where there's differences how the monetary treatment is. And so using stablecoins for payments is a perfect means to get into that market, is a perfect means to get into stablecoins at all. With this combination that the two of us offer, we can offer a fully fledged solution. And with your bridge into the US, again, for global corporations, if you really want to...
So there we go. That kind of, what is it? Eases all fears, because he said with your partnership, you know, the two of us. So the way he's speaking is if the partnership is cemented, is done. So let me go back there, because the way Simon was speaking, it was a little iffy. But the way he's speaking is like, hey, it's done. Okay, let me just go back because this is important. And again, this is a reaction. If you guys want to see the entire video with no interruptions, just go to Zebec's network and watch it. But right now we're reacting to this. Okay, so let's continue and put all the questions in the chat there. And I can already see our brother Underdog Crypto or Underdog Researcher in the house. Welcome, brother. You're always welcome on this channel, of course. You know that. Good to have brother Underdog and brother Maximus Crypto in the house today. You know, we always have a stellar, pun intended, a stellar crowd in the house when we do a live stream.
to now be able to expand salary payments from the US into Europe and also work directly with European institutions that may want to pay people in global payments outside of Europe as well.
That's a fantastic step because it is very, let's say, easy for corporates to get into stablecoin usage. They can do it for a limited number of employees to start with. A lot of global corporations have also labor force and maybe in high inflation rate countries or where there's differences how the monetary treatment is. And so using stablecoins for payments is a perfect means to get into that market, is a perfect means to get into stablecoins at all. With this combination that the two of us offer, we can have a fully fledged solution. And with your bridge into the US, again, for global corporations, if you really want to, let's say, embrace that, you have to be able to process it in the whole organization. And again, that doesn't stop at the border.
Perfect. So everything he says, like, look, we can test this. It's going to be perfect for global corporations, and it doesn't stop at the border. This is exactly what, shout out to Jesse at Apex Crypto Consulting. Max, and Crypto Future have an exclusive show that we offer to the Patreons people. Shout out to our patrons, right? And this is something that Jesse mentioned about XRP, is that it's cross asset. They say cross border, cross, but we understand that with global companies, they go beyond cross border. They need to be cross asset. And this is what Zebec really makes happen, that virtually no other crypto can do. So I'm very, very pleased with our asset here. Let me just speak for myself. I'm very, very pleased in this asset that I'm invested in here. Bar none, hands down, they're ahead of the rest when it comes to this.
Is exactly the way we view it as well. I mean, for us, Payroll is just getting our foot in the door with large institutions, and from there we can expand into remittance, to card products. Of course, we have a very successful pay card program in the US. We've discussed launching something like this in Germany as well with some of the tax rebates. So we're really excited to start working with some major European institutions and see where we can take this.
100%.
Like, look, Payroll is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, guys. We're going to get our way in there. We're going to do remittances. We're going to work with Germany. And Germany seems to have programs in place that they can take advantage of. A plethora of information. I hate to keep stopping it, but they just keep giving us so much. Let's go back and hear what Simon said there.
Pledge solution. And with your bridge into the US, again, for global corporations, if you really want to, let's say, embrace that, you have to be able to process it in the whole organization. And again, that doesn't stop at the border.
Is exactly the way we view it as well. I mean, for us, Payroll is just getting our foot in the door with large institutions, and from there we can expand into remittance, to card products. Of course, we have a very successful pay card program in the US. We've discussed launching something like this in Germany as well with some of the tax rebates. So we're really excited to start working with some major European institutions and see where we can take this.
100%. And I think you're coming right at the right point in time, because with the overall push into stablecoins, now all the corporates that we know, all the banks that we know, they are working on stablecoin processing, but actually there is a barrier of entrance, because you need to change processes. And for payment services, it is a critical process, but it's not a production critical process.
Right.
So the adoption is actually not that big necessity-wise. And so for me, that's a perfect entrance.
I mean, we are in the early innings.
So he's saying you're coming at the perfect time right now. Zebec is coming at the perfect time. Now he's saying, okay, so and he really gave two positives here. You're coming at the perfect time, and although you're not a production critical thing, I don't see, and this is me using his words, kind of paraphrasing here, I don't see it being a big ordeal for you to be able to help them change their processes. I guess it's a process change, but I don't see that it's going to be a big deal for them to change their process as far as payment is concerned here. And they have to do it, okay, because of the ISO 20022 changes. They have to do this. So amazing. Okay.
But a lot has changed in a very short period of time. How do you see the future of this space with CBDCs coming into the mix, banks back stablecoins? Do you see this as an environment where multiple stablecoins can coexist, or is one going to dominate?
I think so. Firstly, today we have central bank money, deposit money, commercial bank money, and e-money, and just tokenizing that doesn't make one of these instruments go away. So technically speaking, yes, you will see CDBCs, you will see deposit token, commercial bank token, and you see e-money tokens, so stablecoins. I think that stablecoins are the most flexible way, especially when you start to add information, when you start to add identity, maybe status, maybe approvals to that one. So from my point of view, stablecoins will ultimately be a dominant factor in that, although you will have a health.
So he just said everything that Smoke and others, Max and others have said about the ISO 20002 standard. That you can add information to it. That it's more than a messaging standard. It also tacks on an API to it, in which that API can be, Tinamoses or SAPs or whatever, and it can contain information inside of it. That's very, very important. And you're hearing this right now from the CEO. So again, when everybody says ISO 20022 is just a messaging standard, they're incorrect. Okay, it's not just a messaging standard. It also includes API, which contains information. Okay.
Way, especially when you start to add information, when you start to add identity, maybe status, maybe approvals to that one. So from my point of view, stablecoins will ultimately be a dominant factor in that, although you will have a healthy mix. So for me, this is really, stablecoins will make the ultimate difference to that one. It might still take a bit for all the organizations to adopt to the technical requirements, but ultimately that's it for me.
Well, the future is looking very bright for both stablecoin payments and global payroll. Thank you, Alexander, for joining us today, and I hope that the CBOS conference is very productive for all Unity, as I'm sure it will be.
Thank you very much.
That was an amazing interview. Everyone should definitely watch that interview. Wow. It never ceases to amaze me, like all the stuff that Zebec gives us here, and wow, that's everything right there. Great breakdown of ISO 20022. Great breakdown of Zebec and how it's needed in this change to ISO 222. Great breakdown to what Zebec can offer besides payroll, and that they're already thinking about that and thinking about that a couple steps ahead. Man alive, this is amazing. So definitely, guys, are you excited yet? So let's go take a look at some of the comments here before we move on to our second part. I already see we got some super chats here. Definitely love that. Definitely appreciate it. Chris Colt, thank you for all your hard work. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. Walk with Pride. T made me realize I haven't super chat yet. You deserve it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Side note, let me buy an old yacht of yours when for the ISO when you're bored with it. Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna hold you to that. Yeah, I'm gonna hold you to that. Yeah, when you're bored, when I'm bored with the yacht, I'll I know I got a buyer. I know I got a buyer out here. That's awesome, guys. Woo, there we go. Almost dropped something there. But yeah, woo. Did we have another one here? Oh, T Riley 05 with the fateful $5 super chat every live. I love it. Thank you, T Riley. Ruel, let's go. Zebec. All right. Also, we got a 199 super chat from Ruel Right Investing. Oh man, what's up, Mike? I like that your that avatar when you got it right there. It kind of looks like Pain for anybody who are Naruto fans. Looks just like Pain there. Shout out to you, Mike, and shout out to Naruto fans out there. Let's go ahead and start from the top here. That one guy, Zebec, she get around. 1 and 2, Wonder Twins powers activate. Let's go. Live from the Panic, Zebecians. F it. I'm rolling up 1 or 2 for this show. 5 minutes left. What's up, Charlie J here? 60 seconds. Let's roll that and like it and smoke that. BBS here. ZBCN to 25 cents. Let's go. 25 cents in second quarter of 2026. Let's go. 10 cents by the end of the year. Let's go. King Pound 1. Rue, what's good? I'm at work, but I'm here. Give us that alpha. Yes. Waiting for you, my brother. I know we were a little bit late. My apologies on that. We had to reschedule with our guest here. Yo. What up, Rue? What up, chat? I'm Negan. We got a Walking Dead fan out here. Shout out to that guy. I love that actor. I forget his name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But in one show, he played this guy called, I forget. Oh, God, now I'm going to forget who it is. Conquest? Oh, what is that show called? It's like the Chinese Superboy kind of show. Oh, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but that show is crazy. Invincible. Zebec going, let me see here. Okay. All right. Got informed that my mailbox is too full. I gotta go check that, bro. Ruel is dealing with flakes. No. It's no big deal. Sometimes things come up. It's not a problem. Let's go, Ru. Been a while. You, what's up, man? What's up, everybody? I know. It's rude. I was 15 minutes late. It's not something I want to make a habit of course. But of course, it is what it is. We had to reschedule with the guests here. So, what's up, Glenn? Tony S. Yo, what up, family? What's up, Crypto Clay in the house? Okay, so one of the things that came out of this, right, was they were talking about Stripe. Now, if we look at Circle here, okay, it says modern infrastructure for the leading innovators. Stripe is one of the people that they list right here. Okay. Also, Binance, Coinbase, Solana, and Arbitrum. Okay. Standard Chartered, BTG Pactual, NU, which shout out to the patrons. You guys know about this. Stripe, MoneyGram, and then so very interesting here with Stripe. If you guys are not familiar, if we go ahead and come over here and check out our last show, we kind of broke down Linea versus XRP in the last show. But if we come over here and look at Stellar, right? We'll see that one of Stellar's funds and backers is Stripe. Okay. So very interesting. If you follow the tea leaves and you know that Zebec is partnered with Stellar, that should make you very happy. Also, we know that Circle, if we go back to this, right? Circle has a euro stablecoin along with USDC. So there's a connection right there. Again, we're looking at a global, a multi-chain future. It's not an either or, it's a multi-chain future. And Zebec is a large part of that future. Okay, you can see here scrolling some of its partners. I don't know that it lists Stellar right here. We got Gemini here. We got Coinbase Ventures, Circle, of course. I think we got to go to a different page to see Stellar. We could see Stellar here, I believe. There it is. Stellar, Circle, Stand with Crypto, Near, Celestia, Binance, Base, Ethereum, JP Morgan. What? Bank of America, Visa, MasterCard, CodaPay, Assure, Aspire, Anthropic, Mural. Like everything that you want, guys. Everything that you want. So if you want to be the guy that says, you know, Swift is choosing, you know, Linea in Ethereum, you know, and JP Morgan. Well, Zebec is partnered with them. Okay. So what else you want? What else you want, right? Tony S, I'm loving this. You're 20 minutes late and football starting in 10 minutes. I know what you're saying, bro. I know what you're saying, bro. But we got that alpha over here. If you want to catch the football game, you can definitely catch that a little bit later, right? Dreamer, hey, brother Rue. C Shivu, yo. Plus my Lions played, so I, you know. They play on Sunday. What's up? I'm going to try. Manja Kosovic. I hope I got close with your name. I've been watching your channel for a couple of months now. You really are a great researcher, and you have been my go-to channel regarding material about Zebec. Wow. Let's start that. That's amazing. I'm glad to be your go-to channel, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I hope you liked and subscribed and shared to others. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. What? Giga bottom. Hi, Daddy. Okay. I don't know how to take that one. Hey. FMJ. Let's go. Maximus Crypto. Hi, Dave F. Dreamer, and everyone else. Time is money. Crypto bullish. Time is money black. Hey, I know. I feel you. But again, we had a reschedule. So, you know, it is what it is. It's not something I want to make a habit of. I do value everyone's time out here. I do. Brother Rue, because, you know, I got a day job and, you know, I know how time can be scarce for everyone. So I definitely value everyone's time out here. Yamaha Pacifica, what's going on? Brett V, what's up, Rue? What's up, Brett V? Be easy, what's going on? Fist pound, brother, appreciate it. Pharmacopoeia, what's up, Rue? Let's get it. I hope your channel will become one of the greatest. You certainly deserve it. Thank you so much, Namanja. I really appreciate that. Turned off the heat. Max was like, what? We're in Arizona, bro. I hope you don't have the heat on. No, I do not have the heat on. I have the air on usually, but I usually like it hot in here. Like right now, it's 79 in here right now, and I'm fine. I'm completely okay. Y'all, like one of these you guys might not know when we do these in-person collaborations. Max wants it at like 73. I'm like, bro, that's too chilly for me. I can't do it, bro. I can't do it, bro. Yeah, because we do it over here. What's up, Max? Hold on 1 second, guys. Allergies are kicking up. Like, they were kicking up on Sunday too, but my voice is back at least. But they're still kind of here. My man Max, I live in Pleasantville, Arizona. That's funny. Our Zebec is on fire. Okay, you guys check the sound. The sound is good. Price predictions for Zebec. I'm holding long term, but may sell 1 million. I don't know. Honestly, with all the news that we've got, I feel really solid with 10 by the end of the year. But if you want to be super 10 cents, by the way, if you really want to be super conservative, 5 cents by the end of the year. But with all this news, I think 10 is almost like the base. 10 cents is almost the base, especially if we get sports betting, which, coming up here, I'm glad we're doing this on Monday. We can kind of do like a forecast of the week. Coming up here on the 8th is when the Las Vegas Golden Knights play. The first time one of the teams that Zebec mentioned in their ad plays. So maybe we get some news on if they're doing sports betting or not with Uphold. So let's see. Maybe we get it. Maybe we get sports betting coming. And it's going to be interesting to see how they roll that out. From what we heard with Simon in the Spaces, it seems like it's something that's going to be an ongoing thing with the teams. And like we heard them say about testing payroll with teams, I think this is a test of how sports betting will work because they're only doing 6 teams. It's the NHL and the NBA. The NHL especially is the smaller of the betting, right? So when we think about things like Major League Soccer, which I didn't know this, Major League Soccer, I mean, I know that I kind of knew that soccer is more worldwide, but I just didn't understand the magnitude of how much worldwide. It's like way bigger magnitude than even the NFL, right? So if they could get this to work in a small use case with the NHL and the NBA, then expect it probably to go league wide, and then expect it to go to bigger leagues like baseball and football, and then soccer, right? They just got to prove it out, make sure they work out all the kinks in a live kind of situation, and it's on. It's on, like really on. Maximus Crypto, hi to Elon Muff out here. I don't really see the value and utility of quant other than tokenomics. There are too many other tokens that have much utility and could do what quant could do and more. HBAR and ICP. Well, the more and more I look at quant, and we'll get into this on the weekend, it seems like quant is the conduit, at least, right? Like really, at least, to Britain and the Euro stuff. It seems like quant is that conduit for that. But again, we're going to get into it with a quant, more of a guy that looks at quant on a regular basis on the weekend. And of course, Max has hit you with some stuff with quant and our collaborations with Quant and Zebec. So definitely go back over those, in which if quant is kind of an over ledger, right? I think we have no idea how vast and huge quant could be. But to kind of distill it down is just the conduit to the euro and the digital pound, right? Just that alone is enough to like quant, if it's just the conduit to the digital pound. Now, if you take it to being like a over ledger, Oh man, like like the sky's the limit. Especially showing, especially knowing some of the stuff that Maximus has connected Quant to in our collaborations. He's connected Quant to GitLab. Now, if you're a coder, you will know GitLab is where all code is really housed. When people house their code and do like how do you call it? Oh my god, the term escapes me. But if you're doing like code management, you use GitLab to make sure that there are no collisions in your code. No, I don't know why I can't think of the term off the top of my head, but oh my god, it's just like right on the tip of my tongue. But if Quant integrates with GitHub, GitLab, it can integrate. You can use it for any code, right? So it's pretty interesting there. Code management or configuration management. So, it's not in my head. I can't pull it, but yeah. So imagining all the things that Quant can connect to as far as APIs go. Yeah, but we'll get into it with a guy that knows Quant and researches Quant way more than me, and we'll get that to you guys. Yo, what's up? Blackrue Investing. Sir Jaquez, Sir Willis, you need to do more research. See there you go. Yeah, you definitely like, and that's not him being mean either. It's like you really want to understand what Quant is, and if you do, it's kind of clear that you haven't researched it enough to say, if you're saying that about, especially ICP, HBAR, maybe you can make that type of talk about that with HBAR's connection to, I think it's security or securrency. That connection, like, HBAR is really, really huge when it comes to that. But as far as like comparing it to ICP, it's very clear that Quant's like going to be way more of a major cog than ICP is. That's no disrespect to ICP, but that's just showing how good and great Quant is. Thank you for all your hard work. Sir Jaquez, everybody's got to do more research. They haven't done research into themselves. Yes, indeed. But yeah. Yep. But no worries, man. It's no slight on you, brother. But yeah, Quant definitely has Quant's definitely but just the connector, it's like how people say that Zebec is just the connector. You don't really need your own blockchain, right? If you're going to be this connecting piece, like Zebec is being this connecting piece, that's a very, very important thing. To make things interoperable, that's very, very important. That's nothing that's a slight, right? And if you can imagine it being kind of the most important connector piece for the digital pound, like the guy just said here in our video we were watching, the digital pound might be the thing that has the second most liquidity in it, second or third most liquidity in it. So that's going to be a very, very important thing for Quant to do. Walk with pride. Shout out to the host. Amen. Have people ever called you Doif? Won't you guide my plays tonight? I'm not sure what you mean by that. What's up, JSK in the house? What's up, brother? Appreciate you for reposting the stream. ET, I like music to my ears. Football time, but I'll listen to the Quant Madness. Yep, let's go, Zebec. What's your target for XRP end of the year? Definitely over $10. Definitely over $10. When all these ETFs get put into play, and we got ISO going live for the rest of the world, yeah, over $10 is happening. And you can already see it, right? The quant or the XRP ETF that is already out there, that spot ETF is already on its way up. So, yeah. What's up, shit focus digital? I gotta recognize all of these creators out here. By the way, my man. What's up, Dave? Rise above. What's up, Ruel? Elon Muff in the house. The wallet conversation is the rails for sure. I love the fact the writing on the wall, most ignored, but we have continued to identify the nuanced areas, the wallets. What's up, Underdog Research Channel? What's up, my brother? Shout out to Max. Great information. Daniel Michelle, what's up, Ruru? Nah, that was my nickname from when I was a child, actually. Ruru. What is up, bro? That muff though. Oh, what's up, Elon? That's hilarious, my brother. Shout out to Deep Diving. You're going to need to get some scuba suit pretty soon, 100% out here. XRP or Zebec, XDC hook up. XDC is my number 3. Yo, Maximus still stacking. Let's go. All right, so got into a little bit of the comments. Let's get into some more of what we have for today. Interesting here with the circle connection here and what we just heard from Simon and Mr. Alex Hopner here. But let's also look here at some Metallica stuff here. So DeFi lending, a new frontier for banks and financial institutions. This is from Paul Gray. BD of Metallicus, who graciously follows me. I really appreciate that. Thank you for following me, Paul Gray. DeFi lending, a new frontier for banks and financial institutions. Decentralized finance has transformed how people think about money. One of the most compelling innovations is crypto collateralized lending, a system where digital assets can be deposited, pooled, and lent out with yields that compound continuously, not quarterly or annually. Okay. For individual users, the appeal is clear. Passive income on idle assets. Crypto deposits generate a return in real time. Instant liquidity. Users can borrow against their own holdings without liquidating them. Transparent automated systems. Smart contracts replace middlemen, ensuring yield distribution is fair and predictable. So this is awesome. And Metallica is doing this right now, right? This is really well laid out here with metal lending. Hold on 1 second here, guys. Yeah, this happens for like a week and then I'm straight. But let's go. So yeah, Metal X is lending is doing this right now with their metal lending platform. And again, the way they worded this with the land is as if they can offer this to credit unions to use as a platform behind whomever they're lending to. So, by the way, Metal, they, just added Stellar to that platform to lend and borrow, which is awesome. I don't know too many places where you can earn some yield on Stellar. So you might want to do this if you want to earn some type of yield on Stellar. They're paying you out 0.55 in XLM and 1.94 in loan. I am definitely taking advantage of this right now. So if you want a little yield on your Stellar, you might want to get a web off wallet and check this out, right? If you want a little yield on your HBAR, where they're offering you 0.52 x HBAR, this is more than the Hashpack wallet, I believe, right? And some loan, you might want to put your HBAR over here. Seems trustworthy, seems really great the way they're doing it. Tons of liquidity as far as, in like, I wouldn't put $1 million HBAR over here, $1 million worth of HBAR over here. I wouldn't put that much, but it's a good amount of liquidity as far as like, it's $4.6 million over here of HBAR. That's quite a fair amount. Same goes with Stellar. Same goes with Ripple. XRP hold $23.3 million worth of XRP over here. So a fair amount of liquidity. Just imagine, like, as they add coins and as they add, actual credit unions being hooked up to this, the total value locked is going to just continue to rise and rise and rise. But here we go. Oh, did you guys see that? Okay, yeah, so here it is that they offer 0.25 HBAR plus loan, and then 0.55 XLM plus loan, right? And they have a whole total value locked of almost 70 million now, 68.4 mil and rising. And as they list more coins, this is just going to get even bigger. I could definitely see in short order here them having a billion locked, a billion in value locked, especially as XRP grows, as XPR grows, as Hedera and Stellar and Dogecoin grow. Excuse me, and Bitcoin grows. I definitely see this being a billion total value locked in very short order. But let's get back to the article here. But the opportunity extends far beyond individual investors, right? Banks, credit unions, and financial institutions can adopt this model to open entirely new revenue streams while strengthening their relationship with customers. So there it is right there. Them putting in black and white that this will be available to banks and credit unions and financial institutions. Why it's appealing for banks and credit unions? New income streams. Traditional term deposits in markets like New Zealand typically yield 4 to 5% annually. In DeFi, lending yields are often significantly higher, and they accrue continuously. By offering access to these markets, banks and credit unions can capture part of that margin and pass enhanced returns on to their customers. So they already identified a market like New Zealand in which they can benefit from this. Custom stablecoins and deposit multipliers. Banks and credit unions can issue custom fully backed stablecoins tied one-to-one to their deposit base. Now imagine this like a place like Michigan State University, which has their own credit union, right? Where it's like this ecosystem, right, of nothing but college students. How they can offer custom stablecoins as deposit multipliers. And really like make the fact that they're their own kind of built-in ecosystem matter, right? I would be very interested to see how this applies towards universities. Of course, Zebec has this in a sense with how they're doing with their universities, right? But it'd be interesting to see how this applies with Metallicus if they did this with a university credit union like Michigan State. Michigan State, I think Federal Credit Union is what it is called. I'm a state grad, y'all. Michigan State grad. So it'd be interesting how this could apply with something like that. Customers can convert their deposits into these stablecoins, unlocking compliant access to DeFi lending markets for banks and credit unions. This not only preserves deposits, but actually can grow them as users seek the enhanced yield opportunities available. Compliance first access, DeFi lending that doesn't need to be the Wild Wild West. When wrapped in KYC and AML compliant rails, banks and credit unions can safely guide customers into these opportunities. This ensures regulators' concerns are met while unlocking the advantages of automated yield generation, right? Customer empowerment, instead of money being locked away in traditional term deposits, which could be like these CDs, man. Those deposits, well, traditional term deposits, but also think about things like CDs where it could be locked up for what, 5, 6, 7 months or more, or 5, 6. Some CDs I think are year long, right? Where you have to lock it up for that amount, and if you try to exit it, you have to pay a penalty. Users get liquidity, flexibility, and compounding returns, all without leaving the institution's ecosystem. The bank transforms from gatekeeper to enabler. Okay. Strategic shift for banks, credit unions, and financial institutions. It's interesting. I wonder what a financial institution is like. Would Stronghold be a financial institution? Would Ripple be a financial institution? Is Metallicus a financial institution? This is interesting, this third designation here. The question isn't if decentralized lending will impact their industry. It's how quickly they can adopt it. By bringing these tools into their own platforms, institutions can attract deposits through innovative higher yield products, which is exactly what Metallicus is doing when they do this and they give us higher yield, or yield that we couldn't get otherwise with like things like Stellar and Litecoin and others. Let's go back. Attract deposits through innovative higher yield products. Protect against deposit flight by keeping crypto engagement in-house. Build customer loyalty through financial empowerment. Diversify income beyond traditional lending and credit channels. DeFi lending represents the next evolution of savings accounts and credit markets, one that works for both users and institutions that serve them. So this is interesting. He's laying it all out and reasons why like credit unions would benefit from adopting this. Like, this is interesting. Like, any credit unions that are listening to this show, like, this is something you should look into probably, right? The future of finance won't be about choosing between traditional banks, CUs, and decentralized protocols. It'll be about integrating the strengths of both. The security and trust of regulated institutions with the efficiency, transparency, and continuous compounding of decentralized systems. So, yeah, this really makes saving, and everybody should know about the power of compound interest. This makes saving and compound interest like right in your face. This makes you kind of your own bank. There's so many benefits of this. It's really hard to see a downside. If you're an institution exploring how to integrate decentralized lending model safely or wants to understand how these systems work in practice, I'm happy to share insights from our work building real-world DeFi infrastructure, including how protocols like Loan on Metal X achieve secure, continuous compounding, and KYC-ready access. This is crazy, guys. This is the future of banking right here, right in front of our eyes. And we have the ability to invest in it right here. Right? Metal X Lending, Metal Pay app, Web Auth Wallet. Future of banking right in front of us. Right? Crazy. Let's get to some more of the comments. Is it even worth buying XRP at these prices though? I say so. Especially if some people have said, Maximus, Jake Claver, and others, that XRP is rated to be a 10K coin, right? And it's not just Maximus saying that. This is in documentation from the World Bank, from people that matter, from decision makers in our world or realm. There are documents that say XRP is to be a 10K coin, right? And there's a lot of reasons to think XRP being a 10K coin is beneficial because it helps XRP be able to move more money more quickly. If you only have to use one XRP to say move 10K, or say, if you multiply that and you're moving larger amounts of money, it really behooves XRP to be at a larger price. So yes, I would say it's worth it to buy XRP at this price, right? The way to think about it would be if you're putting away gold. And I know that's what people say about Bitcoin, right? But you could say the same thing about XRP if you realize that XRP is infinite liquidity, right? So I would say yes, right? But some of you guys, you know what I mean? It's really easy. I understand it's really easy for me to say yes. I've been accumulating XRP since 30 cents. Some people have been accumulating XRP since before then, right? But again, if you think XRP's in game is 10,000K or 10K or more price, then why wouldn't you? But of course, it's up to you. Let's see. Brett saying $1.09 Zebec by January. Again, thank you again for the super chat, Chris Culp. Do your thing, player. These type of videos get down to the nitty gritty. Let's go. Smash that like. Come on, man. For a company that's global, they don't have to worry about a foreign exchange or foreign currencies when they could utilize blockchains and stablecoins and provide payroll for those that don't get it. That's a good point. Again, that's a good point. And people have emphasized this. They don't have to worry about kind of exchanging foreign currencies and all the fees and the weight that comes along with that. With the stable coins, stuff is like almost instant. Now, that reminds me of a video that I kind of wanted to play. Let's bring this up from Cybos. It's interesting in that it was like a VP from Wells Fargo. And what he said was basically, well, we don't necessarily need this for instant liquidity because things are already kind of clear in a day for large corporations. Let me not paraphrase him. I'll just go play it. I'll play it. But what he did say is like we need the liquidity, but we don't necessarily need it for things to clear in a second. That's pretty much what he said. Now when he said as far as like we need the liquidity, it was almost like he was talking about banking the unbanked. Okay, so let's play it a little bit here. And this one I might not interrupt too much, but this is a very, very important guy from Wells Fargo. We're gonna play this. It's a really good video here from Cybos TV. Let's play it. So let me know if you guys can hear it. It really gets juicy towards the end of the video here. I'm going to try not to skip it, but if it gets a little, we'll play the whole video.
Now, digital assets are poised to play a major role in the evolution of global financial systems, with fintechs, banks and industry groups all looking at how the digital currency ecosystem is unfolding.
Now, strategic alignment around interoperability and operational excellence can help drive a secure, scalable and innovation-ready financial ecosystem.
To discuss this in more detail, earlier we spoke to Ather Williams, Executive Vice President, Head of Global Payments and Liquidity and Wholesale Digital at Wells Fargo, and began by asking him what recent changes he sees in this area.
Well, I think the first thing that's really changed is you've had, so by country, so in the US most recently, we've had the Genius Act, but in countries in Asia and in Europe, you're having a set of regulation and legislation come out, which is sort of set the rules and boundaries around who can issue what type of instrument and set the
regulations and boundaries around who can issue what type of instrument. Like one guy said this in the Zebec spaces, and I really got to find it. But Zebec is uniquely positioned because they're the only ones who can kind of deal with these stable coins because of the way that the laws are set up. Okay, they're one of the only companies that can deal with it. So he's just confirming this right now by what he just said. He's being strategic in how he's using his words, but he confirmed it.
So we've had the Genius Act, but in countries in Asia and in Europe, you're having a set of regulation and legislation come out, which is sort of set the rules and boundaries around who can issue what type of instrument and set the roles and responsibilities of the parties playing in the ecosystem, which was a critical next step so that banks and other fintechs can start figuring out who's going to do what to whom and how we're going to drive which use cases. I think
that's critically important to understanding Zebec's role here. Basically what he said is, we're establishing the boundaries of who can do what to whom and who can issue what, right? Zebec is uniquely positioned with all of these stable coins that they can transmit and transact all of these stable coins. So they're in a unique position for that. Okay.
The other thing that's come is the technology is continuing to evolve. Just like we've seen in other things like artificial intelligence, the acceleration has been massive. So when we started this conversation almost a decade ago around distributed ledger, the real question was it scalable? Can it handle the volume and scale that we have in current payment systems? And I think as the technologies continue to evolve, you've seen it get more robust, more resilient. There are still things we have to work through, but we think the institutional power is there to now add it to the global financial system.
So the institutional power is there to add it to the global financial system. And what he was saying earlier, it can now handle it. The technology is there so it can handle the load, so to speak. Pause.
The big question we have to ask you, how do you see digital currencies actually evolving in the market, and what role will banks actually play in all of this?
Well, I think the world we see going forward is going to have two things. We have to separate the infrastructure from the instruments. So the infrastructure, where we think about what we do with SWIFT and the 11,000 banks in SWIFT, or we think about in a country where you have real-time payments networks, you may have a low-value, payment system like an ACH in the US, et cetera.
Separate the infrastructure from the instruments. Very nice. Very nice. You can tell why this guy is who he is at Wells Fargo. He's very he's a swordsman with his words. Very interesting. Go back a little bit here.
Structure from the instruments. So the infrastructure, where we think about what we do, have two things. We have to separate the infrastructure from the instruments. So the infrastructure, where we think about what we do with SWIFT and the 11,000 banks in SWIFT, or we think about in a country where you have real-time payments networks, you may have a low-value, payment system like an ACH in the US, et cetera. All those things still exist. And so I think the future of the world thinks about that infrastructure and what we're going to add to that to bring more capabilities. So when I think about what digital ledger.
So he's saying right off the bat, we're adding to ACH. It's not going away, but we're adding to it. Okay.
Brings, you get things like programmability. So the ability to create a smart contract around a payment. And you think about use cases like buying a home. It's a combination of, you need a title that's usually paper held in some municipality. You have a contract around the terms of that buy, and then you have to bring in the financing. All those on chain can happen together. The algorithm around the smart contract can make the decision, and it can atomically settle. Those things will create a lot.
This guy is great, man. So basically, and this is a use case that Zebec wants to support as well with Propy and others, right? And he's telling you how a smart contract and things can make things programmable and make things easier for this entire system, right? And that whole process that could be very cumbersome and time consuming and very fee heavy now becomes cheaper with smart contracts. Let's let them cook. Let's let them cook.
Efficiency in that particular use case. So that's the infrastructure. Then you have the instruments. The thing we have to sort of work through are who's issuing what, because across the spectrum of digital currencies, you have the pure cryptocurrencies, which are largely investments today. Then you have stable coins, which have been, there's two dominant ones that are backed by HQLA. And then you have the emergence of tokenized deposits. So taking central bank money and bringing it in token form and bringing it on chain. All those different instruments have different uses and there's different risk profiles. And depending on the customers you're dealing with, they'll want to interact with them differently.
Can you share some insights perhaps with us about what you're hearing from?
Man alive. This is a great one. So he largely said that cryptocurrencies are investment assets, right? So again, that should really frame your argument or your understanding of what XRP and Bitcoin and things like that are. They're investment assets. And the currencies are the things that are trying to have like day-to-day use are the stable coins. And he's differentiating between those two. I love it.
From your clients, from an interest and adoption perspective?
Yeah, so most of my clients are companies. So I think about everything from small businesses to the largest global companies in the world. And what treasurers and CFOs would tell us is that they don't really want to deal with new infrastructure. Stop making us understand how payments are made, but we want the benefits. We want efficiency. We want to be able to atomically settle. We want to be freed from the confines of different bank operating hours. New York's open, Tokyo's closed, Dubai's open on Sunday, New York's closed. How do I get around that? They love the programmability so they can say, hey, I can work across my network, and when conditions are met, I can move money.
Wait a second. I want to go back a little bit because I wanted you to be able to see his title. Let's go back a little bit. I know you guys might have heard this. I just want to hear it again because I want you guys to see his title.
And then you have the emergence of tokenized deposits. So taking central bank money and bringing it in token form and bringing it on chain. All those different instruments have different uses and there's different risk profiles. And depending on the customers you're dealing with, they'll want to interact with them differently.
Can you share some insights perhaps with us about what you're hearing from your clients from an interest and adoption perspective?
Yeah, so most of my clients are companies. So I think about everything from small businesses to the largest global companies in the world. And what treasurers and CFOs would tell us is that they don't really want to deal with new infrastructure. Stop making us understand how payments are made, but we want the benefits. We want efficiency. We want to be able to atomically settle. We want to be freed from the confines of...
So he's saying, my customers who are huge companies down to small businesses, they don't want to deal with the frills and the information of crypto, but they want the benefits and the ease of being able to, settle payments really fast and, have lower fees and, have all the information that we have embedded into the APIs. We want to get all that information. We just don't want to, just abstract the hard techie stuff away from us from doing that, right? So this is Arthur Williams III, Executive Vice President, Head of Global Payments and Liquidity and Wholesale Digital at Wells Fargo. So this is not, it's not just a bank manager. This is someone who really knows what's going on out here in these crypto streets and who's really responsible for a ton of money and how things are functioning and going to work. And he's spot on in everything he's saying. So he seems, to me, from what he said, what he's been saying, to be very, very knowledgeable at his job here.
Different bank operating hours. New York's open, Tokyo's closed, Dubai's open on Sunday, New York's closed. How do I get around that? They love the programmability so they can say, hey, I can work across my network, and when conditions are met, I can move money. Those things.
So again, and one of the current kind of limitations of our system is that when the stock market and things are closed, liquidity is lacking. They want that liquidity to be available 24 hours a day. And cryptocurrency and blockchain, blockchain is one of the ways that they want to get that done. So the huge limitation on our system right now is that large amount of liquidity that's in the stock market is not available on Saturdays and Sundays, and they want to open that up. They want to open that liquidity up and have it available 24/7.
Things are really excited about. What they're concerned about are the risks. If you think about what's the fungibility between coins, they also don't want to deal with every bank issuing their own coin, and they have to figure out how to value them, how to manage the risk and hedge. So it's up to the industry, ourselves and our partners in the infrastructure, to figure out how we're going to create interoperability so we don't go back to the world. And I think about the US pre-1870 when you had each bank issuing its own notes, and then you had to figure out whether or not you wanted to take that note as currency. That's why they created the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in the US, so we had one national currency. We're kind of.
I love it that he went into the history of it. And he said in the 1800s, according to him, that banks issued their own notes. And in a sense, you could kind of say we're going back to that, and that banks issuing their own stable coins. But again, if you guys know how we broke this down a couple of days ago, another guy that was at Cybos told us that stable coins are issued by the central bank. So even if your bank has its own stable coin, it probably has to get some approval from the central bank to issue that stable coin. So all that kind of boils down to having all the banks being connected to the central bank and having 24-hour access to liquidity. So again, this is ultimately a liquidity problem, in that everyone wants to have access to liquidity always, right? And this is what XRP and that system seems to solve, okay? So this is all about liquidity. It's all about the liquidity.
Going back to that, if we start issuing our own coins and tokens, we have to think that through carefully and understand how they're going to interoperate. And that'll be the key breakthrough that'll allow this really to scale.
Now, there are multiple groups, fintechs, banks, industry players, all looking at the digital currency ecosystem. As this matures, do you see one type of network ultimately dominating, or is it in fact a multi-network future? Is that going to be inevitable?
I really think we're planning for a multi-network future, because the networks should be comprised of individual banks who have large global footprints, who are going to have networks within their own companies to move money across their individual entities. You're going to have networks based on consumer use cases, where you have some high volatility currency countries where people want to hold dollar-based stablecoins, and they're going to trade on one network. And then you're going to have bank consortiums or other consortiums that connect. The key thing is how we're going to find the interoperability between all these networks. So we're planning for a future where whatever our clients want to do in the digital world, on an on-chain world, that we can help them manage through that network. The other thing we have to think about is the world's not 100% on-chain. So we're going to have to go on-chain and off-chain. We're going to live in this hybrid world for quite a while. And so how can we use the benefits of getting things on-chain, but then settle back into fiat currency where people actually want to pay out and actually get hard cash?
I'm looking at where we
Very, very strategic in everything you said there. Okay, so even though we're getting rid of this coexistence period for the old system, the MT system, moving to the MX system, cash is going to survive for a while until they can get all this infrastructure completely set up, right? But he's very careful in what he's saying. You got the consortium of the banks there, and we kind of understand this with the different systems. R3 Corda, Overledger, anything that Ethereum does, JP Morgan, right? But everything is going to come back to XRP and the SWIFT system, right? It's the central bank of central banks, if you will, right? So again, we talk about everything having access to liquidity. Everything's kind of going to play its role there, right? If you think about different cryptocurrencies we talked about, it's becoming really clear to me where certain cryptocurrencies are going to be conduits into a certain bank or a certain consortium of banks or certain different avenues. Like, for instance, Metallicus, credit unions, Quant, digital euro, Ethereum, JP Morgan, Standard Oil Bank, right? Standard Oil Bank. Zebec, Stellar, and XRP, kind of like the whole protocol or stablecoin protocol layer that gets to all of it, right? Including a Metallicus or a Quant or an Ethereum or an XDC or a Swift blockchain, which would be to like the BRICS nations type of stuff. So it all seems like they all kind of have their own little conduits, their own little, crypto that's going to be the conduit to everyone else, right? Very, very interesting when I think about it in my head here. But it's really clear to me that it seems like Zebec's the ship to all of this. And of course, XRP is the central bank hub for everything, right? So it's very clear that it will be a multi-chain future. But we'll get into that more in a second here.
We are right now with digital currencies. Where do you see the near-term use cases and opportunities we can get involved in 2025?
Yeah, so again, I spend most of my time talking to companies. And so there are really two key use cases we're focused on at Wells Fargo. The first is cross-border payments. So thinking about how we can improve on what we have in correspondent banking. The thing is, people forget that they look at some of the edge cases, but correspondent banking is not really broken. When you think about it, 75% of payments that go cross-border settle within an hour, and like 90+% settle within a day. So it's really the edge cases, and most of those stop for real reasons.
So again, now this is the point that I wanted to point out to you, that this Wells Fargo guy said basically cross-border isn't broken. Most of our payments settle in a day, if not an hour, according to him, right? 75%, he said, settle in an hour. 90% settle in a day. But then he comes back here and says, well, we still can get more liquidity. And then he's talking about banking the unbanked here. Now listen to this. Let me go back to hear that again and play it, and I might not interrupt it just so you can hear his full thought.
The first is cross-border payments. So thinking about how we can improve on what we have in correspondent banking. The thing is, people forget that they look at some of the edge cases, but correspondent banking is not really broken. When you think about it, 75% of payments that go cross-border settle within an hour, and like 90+% settle within a day. So it's really the edge cases, and most of those stop for real reasons. Is it fraud? Is it a sanctions controlled payment, or other things that there should be some friction in the system? However, we do recognize that there is opportunity to create greater transparency, greater connectivity, and if you can get it down faster and makes sense, that's great. So cross-border payments is number one. Number two is really thinking about, for our largest global corporate clients who are of multiple entities, and they've got subsidiaries in hundreds of countries and multiple currencies, they're usually functional in a few. And so they have a very clunky process internally where they're trying to repatriate cash, move things back to their core functional currencies. Being able to automate that through digital currency could be fascinating. It could be faster, more economically efficient for them, both from a fee structure, but also create a lot of liquidity value. So that's the other use case we're pursuing.
Well, thank you so much for
right. And that was what, shout out to one of our earlier comments. Let's go back to that. Wow. And we got a $100 super chat here from E. We're definitely going to get to that. But this is exactly the point that I think it was E. Mays. Wow. Thank you. Arrived late, playing at 2 times speed to catch up. So here's the penalty. Wow, brother. Thank you, E. Mays. But let me see if I can find the comment here from earlier. I might not be able to find it. We're going to try. So it was a good comment. Okay, I think we're close to it here. Okay, and I think I passed it. But we're gonna get it here because there's a good introspective comment from a viewer here. We're gonna lock it down. Yep, it was from the Candle 34. Here it is. For a company that's global, they don't have to worry about having the foreign currencies that they could utilize blockchains and stablecoins and provide payroll for. They just don't get it. So this is exactly the comment here. Exactly the comment here is what Ether Williams was just saying. Okay, was what he was just saying. Right? Is that now with all these different currencies, usually the company only really deals with some core currencies, but that whole process is clunky. Like saying that you have like a Arab dinari or something like that you're trying to translate into US dollars or something like off the wall, like some like Thai baht or something like that, and you're trying to translate Thai baht into like a euro or a United States dollar. It's very clunky process with, fees and all of this, and like how long is it going to take you to do that? That's a clunky process, and blockchain will resolve it all, right? So he's calling that an edge case, but again, very necessary to have done here. Let's hear that one more time.
Opportunity to create greater transparency, greater connectivity, and if you can get it down faster and makes sense, that's great. So cross-border payments is number one. Number two is really thinking about for our largest global corporate clients who are multiple entities and they've got subsidiaries in hundreds of countries and multiple currencies. They're usually functional in a few, and so they have a very clunky process internally where they're trying to repatriate cash, move things back to their core functional currencies. Being able to automate that through digital currency could be fascinating. It could be faster, more economically efficient for them, both from a fee structure, but also create a lot of liquidity value. So that's the other use case we're pursuing.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here in the wonderful Cyber Studio. Lots ahead, lots of sessions to come, but thank you so much for flying all the way from New York to catch up on all the action. That was Ether Williams, Executive Vice President, Head of Global Payments and Liquidity and Wholesale Digital at Wells Fargo.
So that use case is a very important use case, it seems like, to them. And even though he acknowledged that, he says, like, most of these payments for us settle in an hour or at the most a day. If we could do it faster, that'd be great. So he does acknowledge if we can do it faster, that would work for us a lot, right? So very interesting, and I wanted to drop that on you guys. I think somebody inspired me to play that. Another very, very juicy video that really puts into perspective, again, why we need XRP, why we need blockchain, why this is all important, okay? And maybe Linea is the portion that's going to connect to JP Morgan, which is a global bank, but they still all need to connect back to the central banks, okay? So don't get lost in the sauce of the Linea announcement, and that's fine for JP Morgan, but you got tons and tons of other banks, UBS, Wells Fargo, Nomura. You got tons and tons of other banks that still need to be connected, and XRP is going to be the central of central banks for this. Okay, so please don't get lost in the linear sauce. There's still a lot of other banks that need to be connected. Ethereum and JP Morgan is only one portion of that. Deutsche Bank, a lot of other banks that need to be connected here. So very good Cybos one right there from brother Ether Williams. He has that. He looks like a New York guy right out here. So yeah, let's go. Now, just something that I kind of want to bring back to you guys. Like, let's almost think about MetaPath being kind of Ripple technology where it's cross-border, right? Or cross-platform, cross-asset, if you will. Well, guess what? With MetaPath, which is built on Swift blockchain technology, guess who they already have in here? Well, look at that. Quant, right? Quant already in there. Link already in there. Swift already in there. And a lot of other ones already in here. Pretty important ones, right? PayPal, USD already in here. EigenLayer already in here. Move already in here. The Graph already in here. Anchor already in here. Reserve Rights already in here. AIOZ already in here. So many. Just Ondo already in here. Like everything you need already there. And Solana, they have the old token address for ZBCN, but it's already in here. Right? So maybe it's already taken care of, right? And we just have to hear some more announcements, right? So thank you so much, Emays, for the $100 super chat. I really appreciate that, brother. Okay, so here we go. What's up, Greg Ballou? A company in Japan could simply utilize its native currency and pay employees all over the world utilizing blockchain. That's it. That's it right there, right? And through Zebec and things like that, you just translate that from stablecoin to stablecoin almost instantly, right? Using these rails. What's up, Greg Ballou? I enjoy your breakdowns. Thanks, Ruel. No problem. What's up, my man? Black Tiger Miner. We'll be live tomorrow on the show. Gotta hook up with you, BTM, see what we're gonna talk about tomorrow, man. Well, it's up, brother. Teach. Anthony Gillion just got in. What's the connection between Quant and Zebec? Actually, we had to move that show. We're going to move that show to the weekend, and we'll talk more on that. But of course, me and my brother Maximus have already brought some things to light on that. Definitely check out our past shows with that. Let me see if I can actually bring up some of those. And it'll give me the chance to acknowledge some of the creators in the house. If you go to my channel and you mosey on down, you'll see Underdog Research Channel here, who's in the house. Shook Focus Digital, who's in the house. Maximus Crypto, who's in the house. I don't know if we saw Moonfeather in the house. I did speak to Moonfeather today. She might be in the house, but I'm not sure. But we got 3 of the top 5 in the house here. Possible 4. My NYC, ANAP, Simon Family Investments, Benzinga, 101 Media, Crypto Future, which we have every Thursday exclusive with Crypto Future. Ronin Experience and a Crypto Crossroads show. I don't know if he's in the house yet. He might be, but definitely. some stellar creators here that we that we converse with. But yes, if you look at our Zebec playlist, I'm pretty sure you'll find some videos on Quant and Zebec here. Let's look here. Let's look through. So I know there's some that me and Max talked about. Here we go. Here's one. Metallica's XPR ZBCN Digital Identity Bombshell. Yeah, I'm sure there's some other ones as well. Man, we hit it hard, bro. Zebec and Stellar. Zebec and SCN. Zebec, Quant, IoTex, Jasmine. So we hit it. There's so many good ones back here that we have. Zebec, Quant, Bombshell. I hope I'm sharing this so you guys can see this all. We got some bangers out here, man. So there's a lot of new people talking about Zebec, but we've hit so much stuff in the past. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about. Elon Musk's secret connection to Swift revealed. Quant, Zebec, Draper, Musk, Zebec Anando. So yeah, a lot of Zebec news that we have here in the coffers, if you will. So let's I got to change this thumbnail. I tried to change it earlier, but it wouldn't let me. But I'll have to change this thumbnail so it's more reflective of what we're talking about tonight. But we'll hit that later this weekend. Some more Zebec and Quant news. But nice to see that you guys want to hear it. Final update apparently 11/22, which is 33. Pizarro made me aware of that. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We all know 33, right? We all know 33. If you know, you know out here. Let's see here. Ja 700. Yeah, I saw that too. Ja. I was at 7,777 subscribers. It was some good luck, man. Maybe that means luck is on my side, bro. Good the bullshit. I thought that was real. Let's see. Juan Rogel. What's up, Juan? Let's go Zebec. Buy it. Almost 10 million, baby. Let's go. Great breakdown, Ruel. Appreciate it. Invincible. Yeah, that was the show, Invincible. I couldn't think of it in my head for some reason. Imagine if we're holding XRP 7 years ago, we would all be at 300K richer, depending on how much you bought. At the same time, I was looking at some XRP and stuff I bought yesterday, years ago, in one of my Ledger wallets, and it was literally I'm up 2,000%. It's crazy. It's crazy thought. Right? And this is just 3 years ago, right? 2,000%. Craziness. Blackrue Crew, what's up? What's up, Galvin Williams? Nerd Up Inc. Marv, long time watcher. Peace. Nothing holding it back, 100%. Crypto Plumber, 585, or 589, excuse me. Zebec, let's freaking go. 10 million Zebec is wild. I wish I got in at that price. What's up, Northwest. Salute to Rue and Maximus. Let's freaking go Alpha time. Yeah. Facts. That's wicked. If Zebec hits $1, it will likely go over, my opinion. Given its use case and partnerships, it constantly streams value. So the price will have to be stable or rise steady, 100%. Fire in the hole. Let's freaking go, Zebec. What's up, Scotty? Big Zebec bags. Everyone should be messaging Binance, USD, and Coinbase daily. List Zebec. I've been hounding the shit out of them daily. Let's go. And you know, exchange listings are cool, but like we don't even have to worry about exchange listings. To be honest, seeing as how these things are related to payroll and things where daily money has to roll through them. Payroll, remittance payments, loans, deeds to houses, housing loans. There's just so many use cases that Zebec has, and I'm here for all of them. Don't forget about our guy Jesse at Apex Crypto Consulting. Yeah, I mentioned Jesse a couple times tonight. Shout out to Jesse. I'm really glad to know Jesse. He was on our Patreon exclusive last time too, guys. Really cool guy. You could tell he really bites into that research, man. He's bro is like Kobe out here with the research. Like, he is the Kobe of XRP research. Like, you know how Kobe just is like relentless with it. Like, I think Kobe would absolutely just dunk on his mama, just like and like trash talk his own mama. Like, is that serious with Jesse and XRP research out here, guys? So yeah, I think that's a new nickname for Jesse out here. He's the Kobe of XRP research. Tony Digital, ZBCN to 4 cents by December. Yes, indeed. What's up, Fetty Bueller? Deployment. Let's see here. Research standard quant is the standard for building blockchain. You're not buying a token. You're buying a token that connects to all bridges. In the next era of the internet, it's a plug. Star that. Alpha dropped by Maximus Crypto himself out here. Guys, yup. Tony Digital, yup. Can we confirm quant rich list? I don't know. Is there? Let me see if I can pull up a quant rich list right quick. That'd be kind of fun. Quant rich list. Oh, here we go. I don't know where the man of Mostar or Mostar, the man of Mostar. 1,000 plus, you're a whale out here. Shark is 500 to 999. Crocodile 200 to almost 500. Dolphin 100 to almost 200. Octopus 50 to 99. Seahorse 30 to 49. Turtle 20 to 29. Piranha 10 to 19. Lobster 6 to 9. Crab 3 to 5. Shrimp 1 to 2. Plankton anything less than 1. So honestly, I think everybody should try to be there in the Piranha area. Again, if we get 1,000 to $3,000 quant, if you have 1,000 quant, then you're a millionaire. But 1,000 quant right now, how much would that be? How much is quant's price? Again, we got into a little quant. I promised you some quant today, so we can get into it a little bit. UNT. $105. That's good, because it was up to, I could sworn it was up to like 123 at some point. So this is actually a decent price for quant right now. Yeah, it was up to 123. What was that? July, okay. So this is a pretty good price, and you can see here from the chart, it looks like it's trying to we got a bullish triangle here, we got a bullish flag here. So once it pops out of this, it's probably up to like 225 or more. What's the all-time high? All-time high, $424. Yeah, guys. Like, why wouldn't you have $1,000 in quant and have 10 at least? I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. And for those who might not have seen it before, if you just go to the digital pound, foundation, quant's pretty big there. You just got some alpha dropped in the chat from Max there. Ooh, we cannot type today. So partners, Quant and Ripple, just right next to each other too, right? Yeah. I don't see why you wouldn't own 10 at least out here. I don't see why you wouldn't own 10 at least. Let me see. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Continuing on. I think 2 to 4 cents at the end of this month. By the end of the year, 10 cents. Book it. Yeah. All right, Rue, is there any way I can move my XPR from Uniswap to my Metal wallet? Yes. You can definitely move that. In fact, I did. I moved my XRP from MetaMask, which I would always view on Uniswap, to my web auth wallet. Yeah, it has an Ethereum address. You just get your Ethereum address from your web auth wallet. You need to make sure you have your web auth wallet, and your web auth wallet will tell you your Ethereum address for XPR. So get web auth wallet. Get your web auth wallet. What do you call it? App. So you look for this app on Apple or Google. Get your web auth wallet, and in your web auth wallet, you will look for the Ethereum address. I'm pulling up mine right now. I'm not going to show it, of course, but you'll look for the Ethereum address for your XPR. And right in a web auth wallet, it says receive and send. You click on receive. First comes up the XPR address. Then go click over next, and you'll have the Ethereum address. They also have a Binance address apparently too. So that's that right there. Add to say, share screen. Okay, we're back. Okay, I lost a lot of people just rugging myself like that. My bad, y'all. Or it looks like I lost a lot of people. Okay, no, I didn't. But yeah, my bad there. I lost a lot of comments though. So we'll just start from Emaze's comment here. Arriving late, playing a 2 times fee, so here's a penalty. Appreciate it. Shizzle, explain, brother. No problem, bud. Let's see. Dude, you need to do more research. I'm even trying to be under your talk junk. Okay. Seems like you guys are getting on somebody in the chat there. Oh man, you guys are getting on somebody heavy on the chat. I'm gonna just skip that there. Good thing I have all the utility coins, XDC, ZBCN, XLM, and Quant, Algo, Axelar, HBAR, Stronghold, Velo, Dovu, BSL, XPR, Loan. I could keep going, but Quant gonna connect all this stuff, and it's only like 12 million supply. Get real, yeah, 100% on that. 13 million. No, so it's actually 14.88 million. So less than Bitcoin. So tons. You guys are getting on somebody hard in there, guys. Hard. Like, pause. Hey, Crypto Crossroads Show. You're in the house here. Appreciate it, brother. Loco Mansell dropping by to say hey. I highlighted you as well here, brother. Here in the crypto gains. I'm here in here getting crypto gains and in the gym, bro, getting gains there. Yeah, you guys, I'll be hitting the gym too, trying to get my gains out here. So I feel you, brother. I feel you, brother. Zero Knowledge will have its place to make some huge games off of. Yes, indeed. Mr. Nice Guy. Zebec is moving fast. Once it gets listed on Coinbase and Binance, the hype will drive the price through the roof. Yeah, but I think it's going to, like, regardless of those listings, which we know are going to happen because Coinbase and Binance are partners of Zebec, right? If we just go back over here. And, of course, Ethereum. Binance. Base, which we know is Coinbase's. But we know Coinbase Ventures is also a partner of theirs. So, really nice there. And what's up, Shizzle? Any news on Linea? We spoke on Linea last show. I picked up 10 quant this week, feeling really good about it. Let's go, Ken Forgery. Or Forgery? Yeah, Forgery. Does anyone know if I can move my ERC XPR to my WebAuth wallet? Do I have to convert it? No, I don't think you have to convert it at all. You just find the Ethereum address. What's up, Digital Nomad Investor? I love this. My GF pulled my pants down and I had a huge Zebec. I love it, bro. That's hilarious. Another exchange is close to listing too. Not Coinbase or Binance. Ooh, nice alpha digital nomad investor there. Bernard B, thank you to Hitter all day. All right, so we kind of missed some comments there because I accidentally rubbed myself. But thank you guys who all came through today. Again, sorry for being a little late. We had to move the guests around a little bit, but it is what it is. We're gonna be with a guest on this weekend, and we'll be back tomorrow with Black Tiger Miner If you guys definitely, if you made it to the end here, please put in All Unity for the All Unity video that we watched at the beginning. Again, if you made it to the end, put in All Unity in the chat, not in the live chat, but in the comments of the video, because it helps spread the video around. I'm out, guys. Peace.